I mean, today's presentation is predominantly geared to postgraduate recruits, but it equally applies whether it's a postgraduate applicant or an undergraduate applicant. I know we do have sometimes people jumping in and out of presentation, so hopefully the content of the presentation will be relevant to everybody. In terms of that content, it's our role within the university is something which is called student enrichment, which is an interesting phrase. People often ask me, what do you mean by student enrichment? And I always try to say, simply speaking, if it's nothing to do with an academic course, or if it's nothing to do with your pastoral support in the college, then pretty much everything else you see at the university is about student enrichment. It's supporting our students wherever we can, outside of their academic department and outside of their pastoral support in terms of a college existence. So what are we hoping to do today? I've got some four basic bullet points. The first thing, if I can try to raise awareness of what we call our student enrichment activities, then that's part of this particular presentation. Tick, we've covered that. A lot of people go to university, even though they've covered an undergraduate role, are not always sure of what student enrichment activities are available to them. I'm certainly going to identify our key areas of engagement. It's not going to cover absolutely everything within the university, but certainly our 5 key areas I will introduce you to. I will take the opportunity to signpost you to some specific opportunities within those key areas. And again, if I've achieved what I'm hoping to achieve by the end of the presentation, I will at least be getting you to think a little bit further about engaging with enrichment activities in parallel with your academic studies at Durham. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. Just by means of asking you to reflect yourselves on why you are going into a postgraduate study program. The 5 bullet points are very, very common themes. If you ask postgraduate students, why are they taking a further investment in time, a further investment in expense and money to do a postgraduate course, those bullet points are fairly common. People who want to improve career prospects, study a particular subject further, through to the bottom one there. You know, everybody would like to see a higher salary prospect. So the natural progression once you finish your undergraduate studies is, can we look at some postgraduate opportunities? Now, those are common themes. What I'd like to drop onto your desk at the moment is another motive, which sometimes people don't think about. And that motive is about engaging in postgraduate study to develop yourself as a person. Everybody's familiar with those 5 bullet points above, but have you thought about, during your time in postgraduate study at Durham, how can I develop as a person? And what I would say is, if you do come to Durham, when you come to Durham, you will be joining a community. You are not just joining an academic course of study. And that, for us, that is fundamental. We use that phrase on the top there, the Durham difference. We like to try to highlight how we do things slightly differently to other institutions. And the red text there is deliberate. You are entering a community. And I would encourage you, from my time at the university, I would encourage you to grasp those opportunities within the community with both hands. Like all communities, we are busy people. We're creating, we're performing, we're playing, we're supporting others, on top of the academic workload that most people are fully expecting when they come to Durham. Uh, how many people are involved in this when you come to Durham? I think those are fairly impressive statistics and numbers there. Nearly 90% of our students engage, participate, give back in terms of joining extracurricular activities, programs, and activities. 9 out of 10 people. So if you come to Durham, it's not that you're expected to engage in enrichment opportunities, but you will be in a minority should you choose not to engage. It's part of our culture that everybody is involved. And what hopefully will come out of the next few slides is the areas which we are keen to develop and those opportunities where they can be found. And they can be found across all parts of the university. We have, I mean, as you can see on the slide there, we're over 1,000 student-led societies. They run through common rooms in colleges. They run through the student union. They run through the student enrichment directorate. It's a huge work stream where we provide enrichment opportunities to our incoming students. So I would hope that when you do come to Durham, after you've been thinking about registering on your academic courses and make sure you're on the right modules at the right time, that you're also starting to look to the wider opportunities at the university. So where are those wider opportunities? We've got 5 basic areas which we specialize in. So student enrichment portfolios, if you're interested in volunteering and community outreach, we can definitely do something for you. If you're interested in the performing arts, we have lots of opportunities. You may wish to start to enhance your leadership skills and abilities whilst you're studying at the postgraduate level. Again, we're very much geared up to be able to support that. You may be interested, you may be a sportster, you may wish to engage in physical activity, very, very strong portfolio of enrichment activities for sport and physical recreation. And the 5th one there is, relatively speaking, our newest area of engagement is we're trying to put in lots of new opportunities for people to become involved in digital media. Now, what I'm going to do over the next 5 slides is just give you a little taster of each of those areas and the sort of things that we cover in those areas. And hopefully, if you are interested, when you arrive in late September into October, you'll start to search out some of these opportunities and hopefully start to build what I would call your own personal development portfolio, which will run in parallel with your academic studies. So just touching briefly on each of those, the sport and physical activity, I think I've just frozen. The sport and physical activity portfolio is the first one up. Nice picture. That just happens to be our cricketers playing at. That picture is at Lord's. If you were a very good cricketer, the opportunity to play at Lord's would be ranked right up there with any aspirations you would have as an athlete. And that's probably underlined by the first bullet point there. Durham University, we are very, very well recognized as a high performance sport university. The top 3 universities in the country since 2012. So academically, we're very, very strong as an institution. I'm a sportster, so I'm bound to say, doesn't the university wish it was top 3 academically in the country? Fantastic high performance sport university. And if that is what you're interested in, we have a great deal to offer you. But the second bullet point there is actually where most of our time, energy, effort, and resources goes. So in addition to being a top performance university, we have the largest participation program, and we call that our college sport program, than anywhere in the country. We have anything above 8,000 people competing in weekly competitions. So this is very, very time intensive, resource intensive engagement in sport. If you want to play sport at Durham, I am very, very confident that we will have something to be able to offer you. And I think at the top of this tree here, I've just happened to use a picture of students playing at Lord's. Anyone who's interested in football, I think one of our colleges has 17 football teams. That's the college, not the university. So it's an enormous depth of performance levels and engagement levels. We will have something for you. And in terms of our wider engagement with the community as well, we use our facilities. We have over 10,000 local users of our facilities. So it's a really important part of our business in terms of providing student opportunities and engaging with our wider community, people who are living in the local area to Durham. So sport and physical activity, we have a lot of opportunities to offer. The next one of those areas that we will cover is volunteering and outreach. I could apologize for the picture on the right-hand side and say it's a little stereotypical. Volunteering and outreach, what we'll do, we'll volunteer and we'll go and pick some litter in the street. It's a terrible analogy in that sense. But if you look closely at that photograph, the middle-aged gentleman sat on the chair looking to camera amongst all the bags is actually our previous chancellor of the university, our figurehead at the university, who was absolutely passionate about litter and, more importantly, getting rid of litter. And he, in this particular photograph, just happens to be heading up an example of a litter picking. But that, to me, shows a great deal of commitment across the university from our student engagement people involving volunteering right to the very top, where our chancellor is joining these groups. So not a stereotypical picture, just an example. What do we do in volunteering and outreach in the bullet points on the left there? We've got over 80 student-led projects. And yes, one or two of them may be litter picking, but they are in key themes. So you may be involved in volunteering in physical activity. You may be involved in volunteering within environmental issues, culture, social inclusion, education. We have any number of our students go out into local schools volunteering within local schools. So it's a very, very vibrant area. We're volunteer active within our colleges, our academic departments, the students' union, the individual clubs themselves send out volunteers. So, one of the previous sports clubs, the hockey club, for example, may well send out a group volunteering. So it's integral to our support within the region that we would like to get out and assist with volunteering projects. If you want to get involved in that on your arrival, there is an online platform which will be uploaded and released in late September and into October. So you can pick and choose which outreach activities you may or may not wish to get involved in. And as you can see there, with over 80 student-led projects, we've got about over 200 community partners who are also writing into us saying, can we support them in this area? Can we support them in another area? So if you're into your volunteering, we have definitely got a great deal to offer you. The performing arts people amongst you there, a lovely image for me, that one. It's one of my favorite images. If you are involved in music or theatre, then again, we have a great deal to offer. We've got over 100 music groups. As far as we can find out, we don't think anybody else in the country has got more music groups in terms of a university. We have 38 individual theatre companies. And again, in terms of our research, we feel that it's only Cambridge who have more than 38. So music and theatre is enormous part of the student enrichment activities available at Durham. In support of those theatre companies, we've even got our own theatre. So we've recently spent £2.5 million on our own theatre, well, renovating what was a very impressive, it would have been in the period Art Deco building, which has been completely refurbished now, and it belongs to us. So our students have their own theatre. If you just happen to be a piano player out there, the fourth bullet point down may well interest you. Yeah, we have 58 Steinway instruments on campus. So if you are a pianist, I'm sure that you will find that opportunity incredibly attractive. And we also have new opportunities to explore. We have dance and creative film that will come up in my media slide. We're trying to broaden that, adding to theatre, can we get into creative film? Outside of the performing arts, I'm sure a lot of people on this call are already starting to think about future leadership opportunities. You may well be thinking about those in the workplace, and I have an undergraduate degree. I'm going to take on a postgraduate degree. I'm going to hopefully go into future employment. You'll be going in as a leader. You won't be a follower. So future employers want to see leaders. And in that respect, we spend a lot of our, again, time, energy, and resources in providing leadership enrichment programs for our students. So we've got about 2,500 students engaged in leadership opportunities, and one of those is an externally funded international Laidlaw program. If you've not come across that before, it might be worth just Googling up Laidlaw scholarships after this presentation and finding out that there are relatively few institutions. It is a global program, by the way, but there are relatively few institutions which can offer that. We are one of those. Check it out. It's an incredible opportunity if you can get yourself onto that particular program. Supporting our leadership programs, we use a lot of alumni mentors, previously successful Durham University students who've gone on in an alumni network, and they come back and they're constantly re-engaging with our current students. So some fabulously successful ex-Durham graduates are literally queuing up to come back to Durham to engage with students to share that knowledge and experience. So it's a very, very powerful tool in terms of leadership and leadership opportunities. As you would expect, Durham University has very, very strong partnership links with, in terms of external recognition, with the Institute of Leadership Management. And on top of that, if you choose to get involved in some of our leadership enrichment programs, you will also be encouraged yourself to start to self-reflect and further develop some of the key graduate skills that you have in preparation for devolving those skills and attributes in the workplace. So if you have future aspirations of leadership, if you come to Durham University, I would strongly encourage you to seek out some of the leadership enrichment activities which are made available to our students. And the fifth piece in this particular jigsaw that I highlighted earlier is this is our relatively newest area. We're trying to get involved in providing digital media opportunities for our students. So the bullet point there, we have 14,000 users have accessed an internally facing platform called Durham On Demand. What's it all about? It's about providing additional and enabling support for students who wish to look at student film, student radio. We have our own student radio set up, student photography, and we've built, anyone who's into esports, we have built a brand new esports suite, which I always find quite ironic, but it does sit in the sports center. So a very, very impressive esports suite, brand new to the university, came in about a year and a half ago, and that is continually developing. So those are the key five areas where we will provide student opportunities. I just want to spend a couple of seconds now just getting you to think about some of the tangible employment benefits which are on offer here. So the top two there, I've not added anything to it. You know, what are future employers looking for? They are absolutely looking for strong academic background. If you're coming through a postgraduate degree from Durham University, I think you put a nice little green tick next to that, which will be emphasizing that you have a strong academic background. They will be looking for graduates from world-leading universities. I can't think the last time Durham was outside the top 100 globally as an academic institution. You know, it's a green tick. If you're graduating from Durham, it is well recognized as a world-leading university. But then the 4 bullet points below that is absolutely, it's certainly in my opinion, what future employers are going to be looking at after those top two. They want people who have a passion for personal development. And in the brackets there, that is about enrichment. How have you developed yourself personally through your studies? And it's all very well saying, yes, I'm a very passionate person, I like to undertake personal development. The future employers are also going to be looking for evidence of that personal development. The evidence would come from your future CVs, which, after talking about your postgraduate education and the academic rigorous study that you've been through, what evidence have you got of personal development? Which student societies have you been involved in? Which teams have you led? Which orchestra have you been involved in? Which volunteering projects did you manage? Those are all, the evidence will come from engagement in student enrichment. What else do people want? They want a desire to lead in the workplace. So most people applying for jobs shortly after university graduation, very few of them have had that opportunity to lead in the workplace because they've been busy studying for 3 or 4 years. If you choose to engage in our leadership opportunities, you will already have not your foot on the first rung, you'll be a number of rungs up that ladder in terms of being able to provide evidence of leadership. And what we will say about Durham as an institution, we provide all of these 6 bullet points. That is the Durham difference. Any number of institutions can offer the top 2. There's probably 10 or 12 institutions in this country who could arguably offer the top 2. The Durham difference is we spend a lot of time, energy, and effort developing the other 4 bullet points. This is the Durham difference. That slide there, if you did want to get in touch with anyone, if anyone wants to take a screenshot of that, I know that it is being recorded. If you wanted to find out a little bit more about sport, about volunteering, performing arts, digital media, or leadership enrichment, those are my colleagues who would be delighted to hear from you.